episode of Cuong Can Cook. Tonight we're making pot roast. Yeah, pot roast in the Instant Pot, get it? Now pot roast is one of these amazing dishes. What it does is, I'm sure you've all heard of roast beef, right? You take a nice tender piece of beef, whether it be a prime rib or a top sirloin roast, and you stick it in the dry oven. Roast beef is fantastic. And you do it in the oven with these tender cuts, usually more expensive cuts of meat. What I prefer is when we take cheaper cuts of meat, the tough parts of the cow, the parts of the cow that do a lot of work. You wouldn't be able to roast what you normally use in pot roast in the oven. The meat's just way too tough. Today I've got here a chuck roast. So the chuck is a part of the cow that does a lot of work. It's pretty tough. Not only is it tough, it's got all this connective tissue in it. So you really have to use traditionally a low, long, slow process to break down that connective tissue to make the meat edible. We're going to be able to do that in the Instant Pot, but instead of a few hours, we're going to do it in about an hour. 50 minutes of cook time on the meat, followed by 10 minutes after we add the vegetables. Right, so I've got my chuck steak here. I started with a 2-pound chuck steak that I've cut in half because the 2-pound steak, it didn't fit the pot just right. So, you know, I was talking to my wife the other day about how we lubricate before videos, and she says that's not a really good word to use. So now, the way I think about it is, as we're cooking, it's like getting ready for the big game, right? It's time to put on the show. And what you need to do before you start the show is you always have to warm up, right? Warming up is really important, stretching and all those types of exercises. So here's our warm up before we cook, all right? Today, you'll notice that I'm not having a grapefruit shandy. And the reason why is because we're going to be using this in our pot roast. I'm having a nice glass of Pinot Noir. And you can use any red wine for this. The other ingredients today, we're gonna be using some beef broth, onion, potatoes, carrots, salt, pepper, garlic, oil. That's all you need for a really good pot roast, all right? I'm gonna go ahead and pour myself my first glass. And cheers to you, my friends. We season our meat. Okay, I'm gonna put plenty of salt and pepper on here. And you know what? We're not eating just one side of this meat. We're gonna be eating both sides. So make sure that we season both sides of the meat. Stir well. On saute, I'm gonna wait for it to get hot. It's hot. Alright, now that the pot has been set on saute, you can see that it's hot. We're gonna go ahead and get some oil in here. I'm using a spray today, keep it nice and light. Drop our meat. I'm sure you've heard of the Maillard reaction, which describes how the proteins interlink as a result of this heat and builds up tremendous flavor. And we're gonna brown it on all sides to make sure that the meat keeps that Maillard reaction on it. The other cool thing about pan frying it right here, sauteing it in the pot, is that those bits, those little black brown bits that stick to the bottom as part of the Maillard reaction, we don't want to lose that flavor, and that's why we're doing it all in the same pot. Once I pull the meat and we cook our onions in there, we're going to deglaze the pan with some red wine and some beef broth. By adding that liquid, those little burnt bits, they'll dissolve right into the wine and the beef broth, and all that wonderful flavor is gonna go right into our mixture once we put the meat back belly. I don't know if you can tell, I'm a meat and potatoes kind of guy. This is absolutely my dish. For a meat and potatoes guy, you're gonna love this pot roast. Not only is it economical because these cuts of meat are much cheaper than your ribeye or New York steak or T-bone or porterhouse, it's gonna taste so much better knowing that you're doing something amazing with a piece of meat that you otherwise would not be able to eat. You're gonna turn it into something that falls apart, disintegrate in your mouth in this symphony of flavor. So pay attention to the Maillard reaction, and we'll brown the meat, and we'll move on to the next step. Okay, we've been browning the meat on all sides, about 2 minutes each side. I wish you had smell-o-vision right now. It smells incredible in here. And even if you don't have smell-o-vision, just understand that all this browning is creating a ton of flavor for us. Hopefully you're also staying warm, all right? Doing your stretching exercises as we get ready for the show. The next step after we've browned these, this beautiful, beautiful meat, is we're gonna add some onions and other aromatics to the pan, and then we're gonna deglaze it. I'm gonna go ahead and chop up the onion right now. All right. I like nice slices of onion. All right. We'll get the onion in there. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the meat out now. All right. Set them aside. Back into the pan. Add a little oil into the pan, and in go our onions. See all the brown bits in there? This is good stuff. This is pot roast gold. Do not lose these brown bits at the bottom of the pan. Our onions are softening up beautifully right now. We're gonna go ahead and add in a nice, however much garlic you like. We happen to like a lot. I'm gonna add that garlic right there. Get that in. They're gonna create a wonderful flavor base for our pot roast. And I'm gonna deglaze with a little bit of red wine. Okay. Using our rubber-tipped tongs, or you can use a wooden spoon, something that's not gonna scratch the stainless steel in here. We're gonna scrape up those bits. They're gonna dissolve right into the wine. I don't know if you can see this, but the brown bits are coming right off the bottom of the pan as I scrape over them, right? So now all I see down at the bottom is clean stainless steel. That's exactly what you want. Okay, we've deglazed the pan. All those bits are in the wine right now, and it just smells wonderful. All the alcohol's burned off. We're gonna go ahead and return the meat to the pan with some beef broth. Just amazing. Can already tell. Okay. All right, so part one of the pot roast is done. Manual, high pressure for 50 minutes. So in 50 minutes, we're gonna come back, we're gonna add the vegetables, go for another 10, and we're gonna have some fantastic pot roast soon. See you in a little bit. The pan is up, the steam has stopped, everything's coming up to pressure nicely, the house smells amazing. And pretty soon it'll switch from on to the 50-minute countdown. Okay, we've let it go for 50 minutes, and look at this, super duper tender. Now, what we need to do is stay warm. And cut up our carrot. Now we cut the carrots up. Alright, everything's Taking a nice bath in this wonderful liquid. Go ahead and set manual, bring it down to 10. Okay. All right, 10 minutes have passed. Vegetables are cooked perfectly. I wish you were here right now. The smells coming out of this are amazing. Between the beef broth, the wine, the meat, the garlic, the onion, everything coming together is just fantastic. This is an amazing pot roast. I can already tell the meat is gonna be super soft. And because it's the chuck part of the cow, it's gonna be extremely flavorful as well. I pulled the meat and the vegetables out and put them on this plate. It already looks amazing. And we're gonna have a taste real soon. But before we do, I wanna turn the broth that's left in here, all this cooking liquid, into a fantastic gravy. The way we're gonna do that is we gotta thicken it. You can thicken it with a little bit of flour. I've got some cornstarch here. I'm gonna take a nice amount of cornstarch and dissolve it in some cold water. So the little cornstarch molecules rub up against each other when they get nice and warm, and then they get slick and they expand, and that's what's causing the thickness. If you add the cornstarch directly to the hot water, it's gonna clump up because not all of the molecules get dispersed, right? So that's what we add to the cold water where it's gonna dissolve. It forms a slurry. I'm gonna go ahead and add our cornstarch. A nice stir. Again, as always, we don't want to overextend our cold muscles. You must stay warm, keep stretching, and have some more. All right, as you can see, gravy's getting nice and thick in there. Cornstarch is happy in this jacuzzi of deliciousness. I'm gonna spoon some of this gravy right onto my plate where I've got a nice serving of some pot roast with the vegetables. All right, let's go ahead and give this a taste test. Our first taste of the fantastic pot roast. So the meat barely has any resistance, and the flavor is incredible. You got the onion, the garlic, the salt, everything's working together. Carrot's perfectly done, very sweet. Our potato is the same. This is just a fantastic meal. Fantastic. You definitely have to try this pot roast recipe. Very easy to do. The chuck steak is one of the most affordable cuts at the supermarket. This 2-pound chuck steak cost me a little less than $8. With the potatoes, the carrots, the beef broth, the wine, and everything, I'm thinking the entire meal was less than $12, and it's enough to feed the entire family. It's very delicious. So get yourself one of these. Just remember, Cuong can cook, then you can have a great time making these same dishes. See you soon, potheads.